Yeah.
Look at paper 2, May, June 2021. Yeah, it said read the source material carefully before answering question 1. So we have source material changes in the Nigerian economy. That's my country, okay? So Nigeria fact file. We have our government spending to be 19.5 billion. We have our tax revenue to be 12.9 billion. We have our balance of trade in goods to be $10.4 billion. And we have our imports of goods to be 32.7 billion. Before we go down, based on what we have here, it's showing that the government of Nigeria is having a deficit budget because the expenditure is 19.5 and tax revenue is 12. So
Okay.
we are in deficit of negative $7 billion.
Okay.
I think that is clear.
Mhm.
But I think our export of goods is better. We check. So they said, please read for me. Nigeria produces. Okay.
Nigeria produces a range of products, including delivery vehicles, footwear, machines, maize, and office equipment. It does, however, depend heavily on oil for its exports. The government tries to encourage an increase in the output and export of other products to achieve this. It uses a range of policy measures, including changes in taxation and government spending, example, subsidizing the training of construction workers. Successful training can increase job opportunities and wages. The government's aims are to improve Nigeria's microeconomic performance and to raise living standards. Investment in Nigeria has been growing slowly. Some firms are discouraged from spending on capital goods by their relatively high interest rate. High corporation tax rate and economics uncertainty. Nigeria's predictions increasing rapidly. The birth rate is high and the death rate is falling, but it has net immigration.
Hold on, please. The net immigration here, it means a lot of that's migration minus immigration. So a lot of people are leaving Nigeria. That's what it means. Okay, continue.
Okay. Nigeria's population was 191 million in 2017 and is forecast to grow to 402 million by 2015.
Wow.
An increase in its population size will create both challenges and opportunities.
So increasing population might be an opportunity and might be a problem.
Of course.
Yeah.
It will affect the level of demand in the economy, may harm the environment, and more food will be needed. The Nigerian government increased the tariff on imported rice in 2016 to
Hold on, please.
encourage.
The Nigerian government increases the tariff on imported rice. When we increase tariff, it means we want to stop importation of, because tariffs are taxes on importation. Continue.
To encourage an increase in its own rice production.
So Nigeria produces rice too, but large proportion of consumption of rice is from imported rice. So government is trying to stop it so that Nigerians can consume their domestic rice. Okay.
Nigeria is Africa's largest producer of rice, but also its largest importer. In 2018, Nigeria has imported almost 50% of the rice it has consumed. Nigerian farmers produce less rice for every unit of land used. The Asian farmers and Nigerian farmers have high costs of production.
I think it's clear.
Very clear.
Great. Now we go to the question.
Question 1, calculate the value of Nigeria's exports of goods in 2017.
So to calculate the export of goods, we just go back to the case study, the fact file. So we have our balance of trade in goods to be 10.4 billion. We have our import of goods to be 32.7 billion. Normally, our balance of trade should be our net export. The value of export should be balance of trade in goods equals to exports minus imports. But we don't have the export. That's the value we're looking for. So we have the balance of trade, which is 10.4 billion, equals to export, which is unknown, minus imports, which is 32.7. We collect like terms. So we have 10.4 plus imports equals to the value of exports. So our answer is 10.4 plus 32.7, which is $43.1. Clear? Okay.
We identify 2 examples of capital goods.
Capital goods are goods that are used in production of other goods. So examples of capital goods are machinery, motor vehicle, they are capital goods. Clear? Delivery vehicle, they are capital goods.
Explain whether Nigeria had a budget deficit or a budget surplus in 2017.
Based on what I told you earlier when we started that, Nigeria has government spending in 2017 was 19.5. Government revenue was 12 points. So budget, to know if it is deficit or surplus, you calculate by taking away your revenue from your from your expenditure. So revenue minus expenditure here is going to give you a negative 7. That's 12.9 billion minus 19.5 billion. So it's going to give you negative 7.6 point something billion, 6.4 billion. So that's a deficit. I think it's clear.
Yeah. Explain how government spending and training may increase tax revenue in the long term.
That's question D, right? All right. They said explain how government spending on training may increase tax revenue in the long run. Training. What does training do? Training improves the skills of people. It improves the knowledge of people. So with training, what happens? The workforce becomes more skilled. And if workforce becomes more skilled, it means they become attractive to firms. So firms might employ them more.
Okay.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
So if firms employ them more, it means income tax might increase. Do you get it? And if income tax increases, government revenue will increase through income tax. Workers, a lot of people become employed. As a result, their income level will also increase. And if their income level increases, it means their purchasing power will increase. So if they demand for more, firms will need to produce more so that they can make more revenue and profit. As a result, government will be able to get corporation tax from firms. Is it clear?
Yeah. Analyze how a government can encourage firms to increase their.
Is it F or E?
Analyze how living standards in Nigeria compare with living standards in Ethiopia in 2017. So
let's quickly go back to the living standard here. We have the living standards in Nigeria and Ethiopia. Based on what we have here, we have the GDP per head. I'm going to use this for the analysis. The GDP per head, Nigeria has 5,900 compared to Ethiopia, which has 2,200, which means Nigeria is doing well in terms of provision of goods and services. So Nigerians are consuming more goods and services than Ethiopia. That's clear, right? We go to the life expectancy at birth. The life expectancy for Ethiopia is greater than those of Nigeria, which is 63 to 59. So that means Ethiopia is having a better health care than Nigeria. Is it clear?
Yeah.
The average years spent at school for Nigeria is 9, for Ethiopia is 8. This might have reflected in the workforce of Nigeria and Ethiopia. So that means Nigeria spends more years in education than Ethiopians.
Yeah.
And this would have added value to their knowledge. This would have improved their knowledge and skills. So this would reflect in the country's GDP. That is why, that means Nigeria is doing better in terms of education than Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
Percentage of children aged under 5 who are underweight. 31% in Nigeria and 23.6% in Ethiopia. It means a lot of Nigerian kids are not well fed. Is it clear?
Yeah.
So those are the analysis. They said 2, but we mentioned 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go to question G.
Discuss whether or not an increase in Nigeria's population will affect its economy.
Okay, they said whether an increase in Nigeria population will benefit its economy. I said yes. I said yes.
Why?
For G, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why yes? One, an increase in population would mean that the workforce in that country would increase, which means that country would not be shortage of supply of labor. So efforts might be made in such economy to increase output. Do you get the point here?
Yeah.
Look at China. China productivity is increasing. China's output is increasing because the strength of China is the population of China. So an increase in population could be used to increase the output of a country. Number 1. 2, with large number of people, with large population, you might be able to discover talents, skills that will be useful for the economy.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I wrote again. Let me see. Oh, gee, do I write about that again? I think I wrote. Okay. And again, what do I write? I said large population may help to this. Okay. Yeah, large population also could also increase, would increase the supply of labor. And if supply of labor increases, it means the wage rate would fall. Labor will become cheaper. Yes or no?
Yeah.
So cheap labor might encourage multinational companies to set up in Nigeria. because they know labor cost is less. So multinational companies setting up here will increase employment. Is it clear? So also it will allow Nigeria government to, to generate more tax revenue from multinational companies. Multinational companies will come to Nigeria with a lot of infrastructure, a lot of training for the workers. So this helps the economy.
Let's discuss whether or not an increase in Nigeria's input tariff on rice would increase the output of Nigerian rice.
I said yes. An increase in Nigeria's import tariff on rice may increase the output of rice in Nigeria due to the following reasons. Number one, high tariff on rice makes importation of rice becomes expensive. High tariff on rice makes the prices of imported rice to become expensive. So this will discourage consumption of rice. So Nigerians will start purchasing or patronizing local or domestic rice. So patronizing local or domestic rice would mean that the demand for domestic rice will increase. If the demand for domestic rice increases, farmers would be able to invest more, to produce more, to meet up with the demand of rice. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So here I said, look at what I said. High tariffs on rice makes imported rice becomes expensive. Consumers may now demand for more domestic rice as a result. This generates more revenue for farmers in Nigeria. Increase in profit for farmers may allow them to invest in machinery that will enhance their production, which will increase the output of rice. Do you get how it works now? So farmers now, because they are making more money, they are making more revenue, they might start investing in capital goods that will enhance their production of rice. And that will increase the output of rice. Yeah, right? Question 2.
There's an area of feathers 3 times the size of France floating in the Pacific Ocean called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Made of a furbish including all fishing nets, but most is plastic waste. It is forecast by 2050 there will be more plastic in the Pacific Ocean than fish. A number of islands in the Pacific Ocean specialize in fishing. Greater pollution will increase the social cost of the fishing industry. Identify the 2 types of costs that make up social costs.
Social cost is external cost plus private cost. Clear? Question 2. B.
Explain 2 causes of
a shift to the right in the demand curve. So what are the causes of shift in demand? 1, an increase in the level of income. If your income level increases, then the demand for goods or services, not only fish, would increase. So 2, consumer taste. So consumers might start thinking about taking more proteinous food. So an increase in that might increase the demand curve, might shift the demand curve for fish rightward. So consumer taste would shift the demand curve right. Increase in level of income would also shift the demand curve right. C.
Analyze how cleaning the pollution could benefit an economy.
Cleaning up pollution could benefit an economy due to the following reasons. I said 1, it will reduce the social cost in the economy. Social costs will reduce. 2, it might attract multinationals who are conscious about environmental issues. So now that your country is neat and clean, multinationals might feel like, oh, this is a place we can set up. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Cleaning up pollution might also reduce health-related problems through pollution. So government spending on health issues would reduce. So government might start spending on education, which is good for the economy.
They discuss whether or not countries specialize in consumers.
This is about specialization. So specialization is the concentration of an individual, firm, or government in one aspect of production. So specialization of a country may benefit consumers due to the following reasons. Number 1, I said, such country will be producing what it knows how to produce. So that means you are putting all your strength in what you know how to do, which is good. Output will increase. 2, production will be at the large scale, meaning there will be exploitation of economies of scale. I think that is clear. 3, specialization allows other countries to concentrate on what they know how to do by purchasing other goods from countries that produces them. So it gives greater independence. It gives greater dependence on, that means you can concentrate on what it improves international trade. Let's put it that way. It improves international trade. It improves international trade. You know why? We produce this oil. they produces let's say textile. They have more textile. We can exchange. So international trade relationship increases. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It improves international trade relationship. Clear?
Here.
Go on.
In
Question 3.
2018, the US had its lowest unemployment after 18 years. Practical unemployment was very low and so was in the way of inflation. The US also experienced a rise in labor productivity, however, did not do so well in reducing poverty. In 2018, approximately 12% of Americans were living in poverty, a defined
Cyclical unemployment. Cyclical unemployment is as a result of a fall in aggregate demand because it's cyclical.
Yeah,
Look at me, girl. Cyclical.
yeah.
So if the demand in the economy falls, firms' revenue would reduce. And if firms' revenue reduces, they will have to lay off workers. Workers are out of job. Workers are out of job. They don't have income. And they won't be able to purchase to cyclical. So cyclical unemployment is an unemployment that exists as a result of a fall in the total aggregate demand in the economy. Clear?
They explain two ways a firm can increase the productivity of its workers.
So productivity could increase if firms increases their wages, if firms increases wages of workers. So here I said increase wages. This is the financial reward that might motivate workers to in turn reflect in their output, in their productivity. Workers will produce more because they are getting more pay.
Yeah.
2, training. With training, productivity can also increase. Why? Because training improves your knowledge and skills. So that improves, it reflects in your work. So labor productivity will increase.
Yeah.
C,
analyze
analyze.
the advantage of a low rate of inflation.
So low rate inflation means there is still increase in prices, but not at an alarming rate. There's still increase in prices, but not an alarming rate. That's number 1. 2, low rate of inflation may bring stability to the economy as consumers and firms may be able to, they have confidence to still purchase or invest. Listen, with low inflation rates, we know that, there's inflation, but it's low. We can still buy goods and services and we can still invest because it's not an high inflation rate. Do you get the point?
Yeah.
And low inflation rates might encourage multinational companies to set up in that country because they know they are able to analyze the kind of inflation in that country. So they will still want to establish in such country, and that will increase employment in that country.
Yeah.
Clear? Okay.
Discuss
D.
whether or not a foreign country's unemployment rate will reduce poverty in that country.
I said yes, due to the following reasons. Number 1, those who gain employment would have more income. That means they will be able to purchase goods and services.
Yeah.
2, it will reduce absolute poverty as more people may be able to buy basic needs. Do you get the point here?
Yeah.
Unemployment rate, they didn't say unemployment is over. It has fallen. So it means some people will be better off than others. Yes or no? So that means absolute poverty would reduce.
Here.
The 3rd one, this will increase government revenue and income tax. Those that have job will have to pay taxes. Government tax will increase in terms of income tax.
Okay.
And the last one I said is, because government tax will increase, government might start investing or spending on education. And if government starts spending on education, the future of the country becomes better. So the future poverty would reduce. Is it clear?
Yeah. The Canadian government has introduced a number of policy measures designed to encourage more women to enter the labor force. Canada's labor force has reduced as its population has aged. The number of workers and their output are influenced by changes in the country's foreign exchange rate and consumer expenditure. In 2018, the Canadian dollar found value while Canadian consumer expenditure increased. A, define the labor force.
Labor force is the workforce of a country. That means the total number of people that are employed and unemployed. That's the labor force.
B, explain 2 causes of aging population.
When we talk about aging population, that means the population is getting old. So what are the causes of aging population? We can talk about a fall in death rate and a fall in birth rate. So a fall in death rate, let's talk about that first. A fall in death rate means that the life expectancy increases in such country. And that might be as a result of a better healthcare, better living standard. That's a fall in death rate. Now we go to a fall in birth rate. A fall in birth rate means that the number of birth reduces.
Yeah.
And if the number of births reduces, it might be as a result of the high cost or high expenditure on child care. So people feel it's expensive to have a child. So
Mhm.
this reduces the number of births.
Right.
Do you understand? Okay.
Analyze how fall in the value of countries' foreign exchange rate could reduce the deficit and the current account of its balance of payments.
First, what is the foreign exchange rate? A foreign exchange rate is the price of a country's currency in terms of other countries' currencies. Clear, right? That's the first point. The second point is that a fall in exchange rate means that your currency will buy less of other countries' currency. That's two. The third point is that as soon as your country's currency, as soon as your currency buy less of other currencies, it means exportation in your country increases. Do you get the point? You become internationally competitive. And if you become internationally competitive, your balance of payments, because at that point in time, you are doing more exports than you wouldn't want to do imports because import is expensive for you. Your currency will buy less of other currencies. So other currencies will buy more of your currency. So it is better for you to do more of exports than more of imports. So your export will exceed your imports. Then it will improve your balance of payments.
We discussed before in an economy will benefit from an increase in consumer expenditure.
If consumer expenditure increases, what happens? It means aggregate demand in the economy would increase. And if aggregate demand in the economy increases, revenue for firms would have increased. As a result of that, firms might need to expand to meet up with the demand in the economy. Number one. Two, increasing output of firms may lead to economic growth. If firms are expanding, that means output is increasing. And if output is increasing, economy is growing. So it will lead to economic growth too. Three, I said, this might lead to increase in tax revenue, sales tax, because here they said consumer expenditure is increasing. So tax on sales would also increase. So government would make more revenue through consumption of consumers. As a result, government might start spending on health and education. Is it clear? And the last thing about it is that it reduces cyclical unemployment. You know, we said cyclical unemployment is as a result of a fall in aggregate demand. But here, there's an increase in aggregate demand because they said consumer expenditure is increasing. That means consumer spending, the consumer demand is increasing. So if consumer demand is increasing, firms won't have any reason to reduce their workforce. So cyclical unemployment will fall. Is it clear? So that ends the chapter, the question. Thank you.